you want to do that? Okay. Y'all ready? Good evening. This is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Cabell County Board of Education. And I would ask you to stand. We have special guests with us this evening to present the callers. Caller guard. Go ahead. Present the callers. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank the Cabell Midland Air Force Junior ROTC for presenting our callers this evening. And at this time, I would invite Dr. Ashley Stevens up for our special celebrations.
Thank you so much, President Polly, board members, Superintendent Hardesty, Counselor Hornbuckle-Myers. It is great to be with you this evening. We have lots to celebrate, and we are going to kick it off with Cabell Midland student Max Noble, who took first place in engineering at the West Virginia Makes Festival. This is the 12th annual West Virginia Makes Festival Design Challenge, and it took place on Marshall University's campus. Max, a junior at Cabell Midland, earned first place for his invention, the Gripinator. Max designed and 3D printed his competitive weightlifting device, which features a bell grip attachment that allows the barbell to rotate inside the grips during lifts, reducing wrist pain and the risk of tendonitis. And he has it here and has agreed to come tell us about it. So Max, come on up.
Hello, I'm Max Noble. As she said, I am a junior at Cabell Midland High School, and I designed this in my engineering class. My original prototype held 90 pounds and just got destroyed all over our floor. This one was able to hold 540 pounds. So came a long way in the process. This is actually not the final product, but we plan to further investigate what could make it stronger and more reliable. It goes around the barbell with magnets so that you can just shove it in your bag and it will go anywhere you want it to. It's very convenient. Yeah, super cheap to make also.
Very well done. I have been to the Makes Festival a few times, and it's not easy to get first place. And so congratulations, and I hope you continue to pursue that, and maybe there's a patent in your future.
We also have in our midst a recent hometown hero. Milton Middle School student Easton Goodpaster was named hometown hero for a farmers market fundraising effort for a local family. When Paul Linville, a worker in Milton City, passed away, Easton wanted to do something to support the family. Working at the Milton Farmers Market, Easton decided to donate all the proceeds from his efforts to help the Linville family. Through a combination of sales and generous monetary contributions, Easton raised $1,200, which he then presented to the family. And he's going to tell you about it. Thanks for being here.
So when I heard about when he passed, I thought, all right. When I heard when he passed, I thought it was gonna be nice and like help him out and like help him with his funeral with money and like do something nice. So, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I started when I was 3, and I started growing all of it. I grew corn, beans, squash, zucchini, tomatoes, and peppers. Oh, yeah.
Congratulations. Well done, Easton. That's those Hometown Hero Awards aren't easy to come by either. And so congratulations, and thank you for what you did. That was impressive. Thank you.
We also have 3 students who were selected for the United States Senate Youth Program finalist. This program was established in 1962 through the U.S. Senate resolution that offers unique educational experience for outstanding high school students interested in careers in public service. The program aims to develop future leaders by providing them with the essential knowledge and skills needed to make a positive impact in their communities and society. It represents an invaluable opportunity for students dedicated to making meaningful contributions to public life, and we have 3 of them. From Huntington High School, Khalil Clements, Kathan Negenhall, and from Cabell Midland, Olivia Flowers. Would you guys come up?
Hi, my name is Khalil, and the process for this is very rigorous. Only 2 students from West Virginia are chosen to go to Washington, D.C., where you will meet with board members and cabinet members of the White House, and I'll have a one-on-one with the President of the United States and the Vice President, and I'll get to visit the Capitol and take a tour of the White House. And the process for applying is, well, first you have to hold a position in your student council, whether it be a representative, vice president, or whatever, and this is my 4th year on student council. And once you do that, you at least have to have a 3.5 or higher, and you have to take a test on how well you know certain politic conversations and topics. And then after you do all that, you interview with the Supreme Court Justice. And after you interview with them and other board members for West Virginia, the state board members, after you interview with them, then I'll know on December 1st or 2nd whether or not I was chosen as one to go to Washington, D.C. So that's just a little snippet of it.
Congratulations. Well done, and all the best. Hopefully you get some good news.
We also have the honor of recognizing some of the veterans who served our country before and serve the students and families and staff of Cabell County Schools now. Roland Eskew, Roger Johnson, Tony Roberts, and Mark Hughes all served in the Army, and I believe they're all here. If you all don't mind to stand up, please, and we appreciate you. Would anyone like to share? Come on.
I'm no hero, but I served with those that were, and as it turns out, what can really prepare you for that? Well, really nothing. By the time I was mobilized, I'd been in the military 14 years, and when I got that phone call on Valentine's Day of 2003, it really took us by surprise. And there's a little bit of a legacy from the experience left. My wife had to go through a 9-month pregnancy without me, all alone. And I did get to come home for 2 weeks for the birth of my first child. And then Uncle Sam paid me good money to be a deadbeat dad, get back on that plane and go back over to the theater. And I need to, recognize my wife, Nadia, who's also a Cabell County teacher. Okay. And then that youngster that was born in this town, and I was home for the birth, she's now a substitute teacher in the county. So it's interesting how things come around. But thank you.
Mr. Askew, I know you said you're no hero, but I want to say all of you are. The reason we have the way of life that we do and that we can assemble like this and take a moment and celebrate accomplishments of all of us and our students is because of what you all sacrifice for us. And I just want to say thank you.
I have just learned that Ernie Blackburn also served and is in our crew. Thank you, Officer Blackburn. All right, I would like to invite Sergeant Jones up to tell you about the Cabell Midland Air Force JROTC and kind of introduce you to his crew.
Good evening, everyone. I hope they all can hear me. I'm not used to using microphones that much, so my name is Master Sergeant Jared Jones. I'm part of one of two of the Cabell Midland Junior ROTC instructors. I'm also the NCOIC, or in layman's terms, the non-commissioned officer in charge of the Color Guard. And the Color Guard here at Cabell Midland High School, we do various details like football games, award ceremonies, just various, pretty much any ceremony that anybody wants us to come here. Dr. Stevens actually called or texted me and said, hey, can you come and present the colors at a meeting? I said, yeah, we can. We'd love to. And I love doing this. A little bit about myself and my military career, just a small part, was I did the base honor guard for several years, about 8 years of my Air Force career, and I loved every minute of it. So color guard is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I really enjoy it. I did bring my crew today, and then I'll have them stand up and say hello. First, Cadet Bledsoe. Cadet Lehman. Cadet Barry. And lastly, but not least, Cadet Baldwin. Thank you, everybody. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you all don't mind, we'll pause for pictures.
was that man? That one who spoke as a serviceman when he looks like he could be scary.
Serious. Okay, we'll move right along to our update in instruction and leadership services. Ms. Kelly Watts.
It's always hard to follow all the fine students and the fine service men and women that serve our country. So good evening, President Polly, board members, Superintendent Hardesty, and Ms. Hornbuckle-Myers on this lovely, rainy, cold evening. I just have a few updates for you. It's this time of the year that I need to get some dates on the calendar for our annual art show that we call Night. Last year we did Night at the Castle and Night on the Hill. And then after those dates, we did our local feeder schools, LSIC meetings. And the high schools, I've had to work with them and their sports schedule because we have to have the auditorium as well as the gymnasium free to set up for all of our fine art projects, and our art teachers are patiently waiting for those dates. So Huntington High has given me January the 13th, and Cabell Midland has given me January 22nd. So if you all can let me know that those dates work for you all, we'll go ahead and get that on the books. I will remind you that we will send out, the principals will be getting their profile sheets to get to you in January, but the first meeting in January, so you can review some of their needs and wants.
And successes.
And successes, more importantly, their successes. So they'll get all that information tomorrow. On another responsibility, we have had 2 CSI, Comprehensive School Improvement Schools, identified. And part of their requirement, if you remember, our ATS schools have had to come last year and present to the board. Well, now the requirement for our CSI schools, which is Cox Landing Elementary and Explorer Academy, is that you all actually have to run one of their LSIC meetings. So I'll be working with you all and the schools to get that achieved, because we have till September 1st to get that achieved. But I wanted to go ahead and get that on everybody's agenda, because as we well know, second semester, this lovely weather could wreak havoc on us. So, but some exciting times to always have our art teachers. The art show is always an exciting time. And the great conversation that we had last year at our LSIC meetings. So, any questions for me or any comments on anything that you would like to see happen?
So those 2 schools that we have to run the LSIC meetings, do we do it at their schools?
Yes. Yeah, so no, well, I'll work with their principals tomorrow. We'll have a conversation, and they may want to come down here and see and give some dates. They typically have all those dates already kind of pre-scheduled, and Ms. Hornbuckle-Meyer works with that requirement through legislation on the meetings that they have to have at their school. So I just wanted to put that on your radar. It's coming. All righty, that's all that I have this evening.
Thank you. All right, update in operations and support, Mr. Boggs.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, Superintendent, and General Counsel. I've got a few items to discuss this evening. First and foremost, I want to thank our veterans. I know that we have several, we had a few people here, but if there are several others that were not able to make it, or they just chose not to due to weather concerns, different things like that, but we do truly appreciate those employees and all veterans for their service. So in the update, I'm not going to present up here on the screen because I just have a few items to discuss. So the first thing is around a policy, a new policy that is up for first reading, and that is policy 7101. That's called Construction Management at Risk, or what I'm going to refer to as CMAR. So moving forward, I'll refer to it as this. So what has happened, and again, CMAR stands for Construction Management at Risk. And what this is this past year in the legislative session, it passed in Senate Bill 587, allowing for this to be an option on building jobs, on certain construction jobs that meet a certain threshold. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about that. You've got the policy, and again, it's a work in progress. This is brand new. It was brand new legislation that was adopted last year, and to my knowledge, no school districts have done this, but it's new, and we're just kind of getting in through this process of an option. So I want to discuss that just a little bit. So what this is for West Virginia, for larger public projects that are estimated to be approximately $20 million, the total cost of $20 million. And the construction manager joins early in design to help plan, budget, and schedule the entire project. So what we have currently done, anytime we do a construction project like the Woody Williams Center or Davis Creek or Meadows, is the architect designs the building, the bids go out, the lowest bid gets the job, and then there are sometimes and oftentimes redesigns, delays, cost overruns that follow with that. So I want you to really think of, if you were doing this at your own house, if you were building your own house, and I'm sure there's folks in this room that have built your own house, it's better that you work with everybody up front if it's at all possible. If you can work with the person that's building the building as well as the architect, there could be several things that could be headed off initially at the front end of this rather than waiting on, because just like the Woody Williams Center, we're doing that project, that is a renovation. There are a lot of unforeseens doing that. And so if you have the architect and the general contractor, which would essentially, if they had a construction manager at risk to work with you initially, you could potentially resolve a lot of those issues, because they're going to see things differently than an architect does. They're going to look at the steel differently. They're going to be looking at it from a supply and everything. And there's also issues that sometimes you run into the current way, but the low bid. Sometimes low bid is not necessarily the best in all cases. Sometimes a low bid may come in on something, or even with subcontractors, and that in turn, sometimes you see several, not in all cases, but sometimes you will see several change orders that come about through that. One of the big areas that you will see that in is anytime you're doing earthwork, and you're doing all of that. You're dealing with architects, engineers, and contractors, and sometimes you can run into issues with that. So what this does is it brings in the builders early. They help pick the material, verify cost, and there are fewer surprises and possibly a faster completion rate to make sure that is on time. So it's architect, owner, and builder from day one rather than involving them after the fact. So the potential advantages of this policy that you have in front of you is a team approach to everything. Again, it's the architect, the owner, and they collaborate. So it'd be the architect, the builder, and the owner would collaborate through this. The potential is fewer change orders, better budget control, because sometimes when a job goes out to bid, you don't really know what it's going to come back as. It may come back higher than you initially thought, and what you have to do, and the term that is utilized in that, is value engineer things out. And you may have it come back at X number of dollars, but you have to go in and start striking through things. And a lot of times when the architects are showing the staff, here's what the building is going to look like, and I know Mr. Pauly's, you've heard me say this in meetings, just because the initial rendering that you see in the initial meeting when you're meeting with the staff may not be the final version, because the budget will dictate a lot of that, of what you can do. And as you know, costs go up with time. And again, it's just better budget control, or possibly a better budget control, faster delivery. The materials can be ordered sooner, because when this goes out to bid, it's a mad rush that we do the bid openings in here. Then that's awarded, it gets on the board agenda. Then they have to start ordering materials, and things like switchgear, HVAC. We've seen that multiple times, Mr. Hardesty. You've seen that. Little things like that can hold up an entire project. If you can't get electricity or gas or other things into the building. And again, it focuses on quality and the outcomes, not just the lowest bid. We definitely want to be cognizant of the cost, but just front-loading this and working up front together to see what that cost is going to be. So the process of this, there actually, legislation and state code dictates a very, very concise process to this. So the first step in this is the qualification phase. So it doesn't mean that you just can't go out and just select whoever you want. It is you advertise and come up with a short list of the most qualified firms for that. So that would go out in the newspaper. You would put that out. Then at that point, there would be a proposal phase, and they would bring their proposals, and they would list and submit details of the cost and the project plans. So you would be able to essentially interview those firms, and that you would conduct that. This is all very, very transparent. Everything can be seen from day one. If you would opt to do this at any time, even though you pass policy doesn't mean you have to do this, then you would conduct and select the firm with the best value of this. And then the construction manager provides a guaranteed maximum price, protecting the district financially. And that means that you negotiate that price up front rather than at the end, than when we sometimes come with change orders and those unforeseens. Now, you can't say 100% there's never going to be an unforeseen on any project, especially with a renovation or you're dealing with earthwork. But what we have seen in the past is sometimes if you had the general contractor and those subcontractors working up front, a lot of those questions would be answered initially, so you wouldn't see some of those things. So the question is, why would we like to try this? And obviously the legislature has given this as an option. A lot of hospitals use this and use this approach because they need to know an exact budget. There's a lot of coordination and complex issues in a hospital, because a hospital can't just shut down. And the same thing when we're doing schools and potentially Ona Elementary, that is likely to be on site, and there's a very complex issue of modulars coming in and other things that go along with that to make sure that we ensure the safety of the students and still continue to have school. And it also attempts to promote on-time delivery. It's still public, it's still competitive when you're putting this out for construction managers at risk, and it's a very transparent process. And that being said, that in this policy, and again, this is just the first radiation of this, and I'm sure there will be some changes, there's a rubric already built in there, and actually that follows exactly along the lines of state code of what you would follow. So, and the first step that you have to do if you ever want to use this as an option is adopt a local, what I'm going to call CMAR policy, is construction manager at risk policy under the West Virginia legislation rule in the Senate bill. So in summary, regarding this, construction manager at risk is when a construction manager works alongside the architect to design the building and then commits to delivering the project for a guaranteed maximum price. So it's just working together up front rather than there are a lot of unforeseen things. So what you have in front of you is that policy. Did anybody have any questions about this or anything that I can clarify for you regarding this?
Mr. Boggs, I'd like to thank you for your work on this. Board members, as he mentioned, this will probably not be the final version of this. You'll see another version at the next meeting because one of the things we're doing is going through it, and we're going to try to get it. Everything in the policy as you see it is actually part of West Virginia code. What we're trying to do is establish a policy because it's our understanding nobody has done this in K-12 education yet. So what we're trying to do is make sure our policy is sound, and it shows step by step the process, but also protects the Board of Education. If at the end of this you can't reach an agreement with a contractor, that we cancel the proposals and don't go with any of them, put something out for bid, because we always have that option to do that. So it will look substantially different. It would be our imagination by the next time we meet. But again, the first step is to adopt a policy in order to even have the opportunity to use it. He also mentioned that it's been done by other agencies in West Virginia. It's new for K-12. That's why no one's done it yet. But we feel like this might be a really good opportunity for us to try it, to try to keep the potential of changes and stay within budget. That's what we're looking to do.
And one other item regarding that is, this is something that the SBA, being that it is in state code, the school building authority does, this is an allowable option for that, in case you would have a question about that. But this is utilized in other states as well. So it's not new, but it's new to K-12, as Superintendent had stated. All right, so I'm going to move on to the different agenda items that you're going to see tonight. So the first one is 4.03, that is approval of the purchase of waste receptacles for the Woody Williams Center for Advanced Learning and Careers through general sales. What you have provided in there are several different quotes, bids regarding this. This is a big building. It's 230,000 square feet, just about as big as our high schools. But the cost of that, and these are on an Omnia contract, again, even though we don't have to technically, if it's on an Omnia contract, we still went out and procured several different quotes on that, and those are provided to you in that. And the cost of that is $23,765.90 through general sales. The second item is 4.04, is the approval of purchase of a partial roof replacement or for Milton Pre-K through Almost Heaven Roofing. This was put out to bid, and they were the lowest bidder regarding this project, and that was $216,640.80. This is not the entire pre-K. It is just the last portion of it that has what they call ballast or rock on there. And I would be welcome to show you some pictures of it. It's when it rains, it pours inside the building at the Milton Pre-K, so in certain parts of that building. So it is in dire need of being replaced. And it's not necessarily where all the classrooms are, but there are other areas of the building that are still utilized by the public, that into the locker rooms of the basketball where youth leagues are, it does come in. It's just the roof is very old and has separated. And then number 4.05 is approval of purchase of welding equipment for the Woody Williams Center for Advanced Learning and Careers. Just like the waste receptacles, we put many of these items, we put all these items out to bid for various different places. You're going to notice on there all of the included in your documentation where we receive bids of those, and we can't specify a particular brand. We actually work with, and I'm glad that we've got Drew here, because I said, hey, Drew, look over this, and he said, hey, make sure you don't do a particular brand. So I had to send another an addendum out to everyone to make sure that we did either that or equal quality of. So I appreciate Drew doing that. Now, you will see that there was one quote that was about $2,000 cheaper. The only issue with that is, if you have a question about that, is they are not registered with the West Virginia Secretary of State's office. And that is a requirement by state code that we do business only with companies that are registered with the West Virginia Secretary of State's office. So any questions about these items?
Did we let them know that needed to happen?
We do, and we do let them know. However, that process takes a significant amount of time, and if it's not a place that does a lot of business, it sometimes is not worth their time or effort to do that sometimes, but we did let them know that.
Just a point of clarification, it's not, and I apologize, Mr. Boggs, it's not actually in West Virginia code. It stems from an audit that the legislature did of the Department of Education about 3 years ago. I believe that's correct, Mr. Roggins, about 3 years ago. And one of the items they found is that school boards were doing business with entities not registered within the state, and that became a requirement for us to do that.
Yep. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? All right, and the last item that I have is we do have one minor change, and that is on, let's make sure we're all looking at the same page here. Page 11, and it's under 5110P under resignations. That says Nick Marion. It's actually Nicholas Marion. So it's just changed Nick to Nicholas. And that concludes my update.
Thank you, Mr. Boggs.
Thank you.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I was looking for it.
Oh, we're not voting on anything
No.
here.
We'll go ahead with our superintendent's update this evening.
Thank you, President Polly. I just wanted to recap a couple items that have taken place since we last met. And I'm going to skip one, hopeful that Ms. Childers may address an art show that has taken place. Very good. But we did have elementary all-county choir. What an amazing show. There is really a lot of musical talent, a lot of talent in general in Cabell County. We saw some of that from our students today. But we're grateful to all of our elementary music teachers for fostering that love of music and developing the talent that our students have. It was wonderful to be able to welcome home Cabell County Schools alumnus Gabe Gray as our guest conductor as well. Last Thursday, I had the opportunity to go with a team here from the central office and a couple of our schools to a secondary special education STRIVE meeting. And that was put on and hosted by the West Virginia Department of Ed. And it's really just, their STRIVE program is just more of a continual improvement for our schools across the state. The team that met there will be sharing that training with secondary staff in the coming months. Looking ahead, we are anxiously looking forward to the schedule of move into the new Woody Williams Center. We are anticipating the last day for students will be December 17th, and their first day back will be January 7th at the Woody Williams Center. That's what we're anticipating at this moment. I also want to share that weather issues are here. It seems we've entered that season where it can change at a moment's notice. But I just wanted to let the board know that our team has been assigned certain roads throughout the district. I want to thank each of them for those early 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. drives on those questionable mornings. I do want to let the board know and the public know that we do our best to make a call as early as possible. It's a large county, and sometimes we'll have some areas that are terrible and other areas there's nothing going on. And so whenever we make a call, it is in the best interest of our students and our staff. And when we do that, and it's different in different ends of the county, some people don't understand why we do, but just know that the entire purpose is to make sure that we keep our students and our staff safe. But we will do our best to make the appropriate call in a very timely manner. We have fall break coming up on November 24th through the 28th, and which is next week. And while that nearly concludes my update, I want to draw your attention to the tab of special board items in your notebook. There is a PowerPoint display there. Mr. Jackson is going to bring that up. And I am going to ask Melissa Ash to come up and share the information under the special board item, which will be appearing as a vote later for consideration. And so I'm going to turn the floor over to her for just a moment.
Thank you. Good evening, President Polly and board members and Superintendent Hardesty and Council Hornbuckle Myers. I'm Melissa Ash, and I am the director and principal at the Cabell County Career Center, soon to be, very soon to be, the Woody Williams Center for Advanced Learning and Careers. I'm here to present to you our new logo for our new location and our new building. I'm extremely excited to present this to you and talk about it just real briefly here. So we have a display here and they're trying to move it. It is a little awkward sometimes to move, but I apologize. But I came up with an idea and I thought about some information that we wanted to do. My entire goal for our school and for our students here in Cabell County is to make this a place and a corporate identity. We no longer want to be just a school. We want to be a place to be and a place to call home. And that's what we have done. So we have come up with, as you can see in your PowerPoint, we have a variety of opportunities and stuff. And when I went to our new graphic design instructor, part of when you go to a graphic design artist and you want something designed for you graphically, you have to do a presentation. So she has helped me put this presentation together and helped me design what it would be if we were a business or a corporation out there in the real world. which is something that you will see that she's teaching our students in that program as well, moving forward to the future. So our brand, the logo represents a professionalism, trust, and creativity. The design should remain clear, readable, and consistent across all materials. And you can see two different opportunities, one with a yellow swirl in it and one with a gray. And there's a reason for that, because there's certain times you want to use something that pops and something that you want to use that is more subtle and more convenient. So we will be adopting both of those with your approval. So, and you can see different ways that you can present it and different ways you can do it. The next slide that you have is the actual colors and the actual numbers. So when we go to a print shop or somewhere to have these things printed, or somebody wants to utilize our logo, we will present this PowerPoint and this information for them. There's only certain things they can do with it and only certain colors they can use, and these would be them. So that is presented there for you as well. On the next slide, the logo usage. Approval versions. So there will only be a couple different versions that will be approved, so they can't print just randomly whatever they want. Anybody can't go in and just do what they want. The primary logo will be our navy and yellow. This will be for all marketing materials, social media, and visual branding. The second logo, which is the navy and the gray, this will be for formal documents and letterheads. And the actual colors that you saw, the palette, those came from the actual colors from the building. So we have all of these colors in the actual building that they're using on walls and on displays. And the front yellow panel is the actual yellow that we used in the logo. So our logo usage, you can see it again in the next one. It'll show you different ways. So you can have the Woody Williams Center underneath the WC, or you can have it embedded into the WC with the gear around it. So if you go to the next one that says background rules. Background rules. These will be rules that they can use whenever we print it. You can use the navy and yellow version on a white or a light background, as you see in the first and the second screen. You can use the navy and gray on a white or very light background. But if you want a dark background, you need to use a white, solid white version so that you can see the wording and see the actual print of the logo. And if you're using one color, you may use it in a solid black. Okay. The next one, this is the font that is used. The primary font would be the WC on the whole entire logo itself. That would be used for the headings and the logos and the signage. And then the secondary font, as you see there, that will be for if you use a phone number or a website or anything else like on a business card or anything like that, that you're using those prints. So those are the only two prints that we can use. Now, the logo usage, don'ts. This was really clever. So don't stretch or rotate the logo. You can't change the colors outside the appropriate palette. You can't use outlines, shadows, or effects. And you can't place the logo on a busy background. So everything has to be approved and set through. So we will also keep that as part of our presentation. The logo space. You have to have at least the height of the logo's first letter around the sides of the clear space, and you can't have it too close to other images on your documentation. And then applications, we'll use this corporate identity consistently across all of our business cards, letterheads, posters, flyers, websites, and social media, signage, and merchandise. And then this next slide is one that really excites me, and it's the middle panel here. This is an example of what it would look like in real life on a business card up in the right-hand corner, letterhead on the bottom, an envelope or a folder. And one of the things we have stressed really hard in this design is that when people come into our building and they ask about our programs, I want these folders available to hand to everyone that enters. So they get a folder and it talks about all our programs and our students and what opportunities they're available to do, and if they're an adult coming in, they can, join us as well. The one really cool thing about that display and that item is that she embedded the QR code that's going to be placed on all business cards and on our envelopes and our folders, so you can actually scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to our website. And then that way they'll be able to apply or ask questions or do whatever they want to do or need to know. The one thing I will point out that you can't really see very well, you maybe if you got it real close, but at the very bottom, I put out a QR code and had this display out at the school to ask for opinions and, what do you think? Do you like it? It was overwhelming. Everybody really liked it. It was kind of funny because I had a 50-50 on the yellow or the gray, which one they liked better. But they all really wanted to keep our current motto. And that current, I had to write it down because sometimes I forget it. But it says, we train today's students for tomorrow's changing workplace. So that will be kept as our motto across the board. So that's something that everybody, teachers and students, all really wanted to see happen. I had some funny ones though, like you break it, we'll try to fix it. I'm like, okay. How about you break it, we'll fix it. So. But then the applications, as you can see, these are just ideas where we could put it throughout the building. I'm not saying we're putting them there, but they are just ideas. So you can just flip through those next several slides. One was in a main entrance there. One you can see up in the cafeteria. One on a solid background with the white logo. That was down one of the hallways. Would be a great idea. In the conference room, the meeting rooms. And then the next one, it has a logo. And if you look on the right here, all of those are our shop logos. And we embedded them into the actual logo of the WC, which is actually the gear. And if you look on that last page, it's showing you one outside of building maintenance, actually. That was building maintenance. It was just the only picture I could find that I could throw one out there. So the angle's kind of funny, but we would like to see these put outside of each of our programs so they can have part of the logo in their program as well. And then that's it for the presentation. For the logo, do I have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you all talked about having an open house for the public?
Yes, so we have talked about that, and I don't know as if we finalized but we had a tentative date in January, so hopefully we're going to do that sometime soon after our move. If our students' first day is the 7th, I'm hoping within the week we can have everything put away and put up and look like we can, present to everybody.
So what we were planning to do there is sometime in January, after, as she said, after the students are there, they get their shops organized, ready, sometime before the end of the month in January, that we would have a ribbon cutting, if you will, to where we invite the public in to see the building. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not a graphic artist, don't have any experience in any of this, but man, it looks really nice.
Thank you.
I think this is really, really well done. And so props to everyone who worked on that. That was fantastic.
It was a group effort, but it went through a lot of changes. I had one before, and then we changed it, and I'm really pleased with the outcome from everything. Any other questions on it, or? Okay. Can I take one brief moment and just tell you some exciting news?
Yeah.
Do you care? I'm sorry. But we have just finished our applications for the upcoming school year. And last year, just to put it in perspective, last year we had 305 students request to be in our building. This year, I get so, 633 have applied to be in our programs. So we are so excited, so excited for that number. Yes. So, well, we're going to try to make as much capacity as possible and do the best we can. Of course, there might be some that will choose not to, because they don't get in the program they want. But we're just starting that interview process right now. So, but it is just amazing to me that the students, are choosing, that they're choosing to want to come. So we want to make it available to them if they want to be there. So
I would like to commend her on her efforts of not only talking to our students and publicizing that, and Dr. Stevens getting that word out as well. But also for her actually looking at a different way to possibly provide this service as the students. We've always had it traditionally where we have high school students that will come a half day or a full day. One of the things we're looking at is changing that next year to make that available to more students. Maybe shorter class times. It may take longer to get your certificate, but have those available to more students. So I applaud your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to 2.04, delegations to be heard. Have no one signed up to speak. And we'll move right along to section 3.01 is board member comments.
Yes, I do have some comments. I want to start with our Cabell County Schools Foundation. A reminder for some, and this might be new information. We have some guests in our room, and this might be new for you. So the Cabell County Schools Foundation is a separate entity from Cabell County Schools. Its members are volunteers who raise money for teacher grants, mini grants. They raise money by having events, by asking for donations from individuals or from business owners. And it's been in existence, I think, for 30-some years. A lot of people still don't know about it. Even educators in our county don't know about it, don't know that they can apply for a mini grant for a special project or for a field trip, so on. So I joined the organization, the foundation, a few months ago, and I want to tell you about an event we had as a fundraiser 2 weeks ago. And that was an art show held at West Edge Factory down in the Westmoreland part of Huntington. And every employee of Cabell County Schools and Wayne County Schools was invited to share their art, their visual art. And we had a reception for all those who chose to participate. Now again, this was the first time we had this, but the walls in the gallery there were full of art from Cabell and Wayne County employees. We had, of course, art teachers who shared their work, but we also had a second grade teacher from Highlawn Elementary. She might have been kindergarten. Do you remember, Ashley? One or the other. We had a high school guidance counselor who shared her paintings. One woman told me that her custodian heard about it too late. He thought it was just for art teachers, and he had art that he wanted to share. How was this a benefit for Cabell County Schools Foundation? West Edge Factory exhibits the artwork of a different artist every month, and they always have a reception. And if their work sells, and they don't have to sell their work, but if their work sells, then typically West Edge Factory gets 30%. And the artist, of course, gets the rest. Well, this time, West Edge Factory agreed to donate any art that's sold, and again, not all of the art was for sale, 30% would go to Cabell County Schools Foundation. Of course, Wayne County Schools was there. They do not have a foundation. And in the coming months, we hope to help them form a Wayne County Schools Foundation. And I know art sold. I know things sold. We don't have the amount that will be donated to Cabell County Schools, but there will be a check coming to Cabell County Schools Foundation as a result. And the person who's in charge of that, Sassa Wilkes, who himself used to be an art teacher at Cabell County, at Cabell Midland High School, was an art teacher. He has said that this is going to be an annual event. And we know how fast time flies. So if you're an artist, pull out your masterpiece or start creating some art for the next show. Another fundraiser for the Cabell County Schools Foundation is Ashley, you might be able to talk about this better than I can. And it is a timely time to talk about it.
Thank you, Ms. Childers. It is the Play and Stay West Virginia online silent auction. And so members of the foundation reached out to get donations of things made, sold, adventures, restaurants, anything that has to do with our home and enjoying it. So we have some art from Miss Childers. We have Timberline tickets, Rocco's gift cards, Food Fair gift cards. You can go and play anywhere. There's train cards.
Golfing at Guyane.
Golfing at Guyane. I think there's like 20 somethings.
Wine tasting at SIT.
Yes, a private wine tasting experience. There's a ton, and it is all right now available on the Cabell Schools Foundation Facebook page in an album called Play and Stay West Virginia. The auction began yesterday, and it will close on Thursday at 8 p.m. The highest bidder at that time will receive that item, and our schools have an opportunity to get in on it as well. The foundation's Facebook has been dormant for a while, and so it doesn't have a lot of traction. And so to help us get the word out, schools are welcome to share it with their communities, and the school that has the most bids with their tag, so if I'm bidding and I put Ashley Stevens $50 Cabell Midland, that's one bid for them. They will receive a $500 mini grant to the school to be used for student learning opportunities. So schools win, teachers win, kids win. It's really cool, and you get to go do fun things. So please check it out, Cabell Schools Foundation on Facebook. Thanks, Ms. Childers.
I knew you would do a better job than I would. Okay, so I'm going to change hats, and I want to talk about West Virginia Reading Association. 3 years ago, I joined that organization. Again, it's West Virginia Reading Association. Most of the members are teachers across the state. The goal of West Virginia Reading Association, which has been in existence for 60-some years, is to promote literacy. We have a council in Cabell County. It is the presidents of our council, local council, are Anna Holtz, who's a special ed teacher at the Career Center, and Samantha Fleming. She's an educator somewhere in the county, but I'm not quite sure where. Barboursville Middle. Some of the things that our local council does is they organize the literature fair that we have annually. They also do the Young Illustrators competition, where students draw from K through 12, draw a cover image of their favorite book. And this last year, in the spring, the winner's work was exhibited at the Huntington Museum of Art. Again, that's organized by West Virginia Reading Association, our local council. And the third one is the Young Writers competition. And the winners of the Young Writers competition go to an event in May at the University of Charleston, where they have workshops, writing workshops. It's really a fabulous opportunity for people who are interested in writing. So that's what our local council is doing. There aren't that many local councils across the state. Public schools can have them. Libraries can have them. Universities can have them. Again, it's to promote literacy. Well, another thing that the state organization does, besides support councils when they're doing all these activities, is they have an annual conference, and that is this week. For decades, it was at the Greenbrier because of pricing constraints. Last year, it was moved to the Ogilvy Resort in Wheeling. I leave for that tomorrow. The role that I took when I joined the organization was the citations and awards chair. So we ask educators across the states to nominate educators who are promoting literacy in an exceptional way. We have 4 main categories. We recognize outstanding future teachers. Those are undergraduate education majors in any university or college across the state. The second one is teachers in a K through 12 who are beginning teachers. They've only taught 1 to 5 years. The third category is any educator who is working in who is an educator in the classroom. But this can be a Title I teacher or a teacher who has a regular classroom. Then the fifth are those educators who are principals, or they might be executive directors of elementary education. They might be academic specialists, and they could be superintendents. They could be college educators. Those are the 4 categories. So all of the nominations come to me. I send out letters to all the people who have been nominated across the state, and I let them know of this fabulous honor. Because these are teachers that people have recognized are exceptional. They're teachers or educators in some way that are absolutely exceptional. And at this conference, I will be introducing every single one of them that was nominated and who went to the big effort of filling out the application and asking 5 people to write reference letters for them. So I and a few other people use rubrics to evaluate these individuals. It's excruciatingly painful for me, because while I want to recognize these people, I don't want to have to narrow it down to one winner in each category. But I had to do it because they make me. So I'm bringing it up today because I like to educate people. I'm a former educator. But we have 4 individuals, exceptional educators in our county who have been nominated, and I want to announce them. First, in the Eddie C. Kennedy category for teachers who are working in K through 12 classrooms, Mary Beth Freeman, who's a 4th grade teacher at Village of Barboursville Elementary, and Michelle Cabe, who's a special education teacher at Barboursville Elementary. In the Madge McDaniel Award category, we have 2. We have Courtney Cook, who's an elementary academic specialist. And we have our own Kristen Giles, who is executive director of elementary education. Thank you to all of those individuals who work very hard and who have made a huge difference for our students in Cabell County.
It's her second nomination.
Yes, it is. This is the second time, and that just means she's exceptional. People are recognizing it, and they want to recognize her again. Thank you.
All right, thank you for all that information.
That was a lot, I know.
Lots of good stuff, though. Thank you. Any other board member comments at this time?
I took up all the time.
Yeah. I just want to follow up Ms. Ash's announcement of good news there with how many, I mean, it's more than double the requests. It's amazing. That undertaking of that Career Center was a huge investment for the county. And I mean, I think it's integral, very important that we try to expand and do everything we can to make full use of that facility, because not only does it help a lot of our students who otherwise might not do so well in school, but it does provide the workforce of the future. And I mean, it's coming more and more. We need those types of jobs filled, and I'm glad that we have a state-of-the-art, world-class facility to do that. So just say that. All right. Any other comments or workshop requests at this time? I know we have some workshops coming up real soon on personnel and finance.
Right, we're thinking at the beginning of December, we would do a personnel workshop, just the process that we go through. And in January, hopefully January, I know LSICs may take some time in January, and the art shows, but we would like to do a financial update in there as well.
Okay. All right. If nothing else at this time, we can move on to section 4, which is our consent agenda, and we've had some information provided on those things. The policy update for this new CMAR policy, which I think I'm interested to see if this policy goes through, how we can utilize it, because I think it can help us to save money and really control our timeline a little bit when we have these projects. So I'm interested in that. I'll note that on 4.03, which was the purchase of waste receptacles for the new Woody Williams Center, $23,000, almost $24,000, which seems like a lot of money for waste receptacles, but that's 268 different items of various sizes and uses, specific uses for waste receptacles, but it's a lot for that huge building.
Yes.
Any other questions, concerns, comments on anything in the consent agenda at this time? If not, we can move to 4.14, which is approval, and I'll just ask for a motion. Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion and a second by Ms. Smalley. Motion by Mr. Abess, second by Ms. Smalley. And one last ask if there's any questions, concerns, comments. You have the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? No. Motion carries. And that takes us to Section 5, which is our financial section. Mr. Rodkin.
Thank you, Mr. Pauly. For the financial part of the agenda this evening, we have the October Treasurers Report, the October vouchers, and then the budget supplements. Budget supplements this time, they're grants that have been received over the last month or so. So we're asking that you approve those and add those into the budget for expenditure. The month of October doesn't really have a whole lot of highlights, so there's not really a whole lot of big ticket items to go over with you, but I did want to give you guys just one update. When you look on your treasurer's report, on the first page, it always has all the cash balances. Our bond construction account is down to just under 4.8 million as of the end of October. Most of that has been held back to be part of the arbitrage rebate that I've talked about a couple of times as we've gone along. I actually had a meeting today as we start to approach time to do our report that we have to file, and they told us that we'll file a report within 60 days after December 29th. So sometime probably in January or early February, we'll have that report filed, and we'll actually have to release the remaining funds, back as the arbitrage payment. So just want to make you aware that that's something we've been preparing for. I've mentioned it a few times. We are getting close to that time because you're required 5 years after the bonds were sold. They were sold at the end of December in 2020. So we have 60 days after that 5-year anniversary date to be able to file the report and remit the funds. And so we're now going through that process of getting that started. Do you all have any questions for me this evening on anything that you received in your packets? Okay, well,
I don't think
thank
so.
you all.
All right, if no other questions, we can move to 5.04, approval of the financial items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Neely's made the motion for approval. Mr. Abess has seconded. Any further comments, questions, concerns? Motion for approval of financial items. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. And we will move to Section 6, which is our personnel section.
So, if you all would like to vote on 01 and 6, then we will, I think it's, yeah, well, 4 will fall off automatically if you vote on 6.01 and 6.02, and then we'll just need an executive session for 6.03. The employee is resigning, but we already had them on there, so we just want to make sure the resignation went through before we pulled them.
Okay. So 6.01 is the professional. 6.02 is our service personnel section, and we'll take those separately. So I'll ask for a motion for approval of 6.01 and 6.02 if there are no questions. Okay. Mr. Obess has made the motion, and Ms. Smalley has seconded for approval of 6.01 and 6.02. Any other questions, comments, concerns? The motion for approval of 6.01, 6.02, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, the motion carries. And we are going to remove 6.04 from the agenda. And we have 6.03 in front of us, administrative leave for service personnel. I will make a motion that we go into executive session for a personnel matter. And I have a second from Mr. Abess. All in favor of going to executive session for a personnel matter, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. We are in executive session. Thank you. Do you have a motion to return to open session? Mr. Best has made the motion. Ms. Smalley has seconded to the motion to return to open session. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. We're back in open session. And I believe Mr. Hardesty will have a recommendation for us.
Yes, President Polly. I recommend that the board ratify the administrative leave of Travis Sowards with pay that began October 8th, 2025, and continue until a resolution is reached.
Okay, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion for approval? Ms. Smalley has made the motion. Ms. Neely has seconded. All in favor of approval of the superintendent's recommendation for 6.03 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, the motion carries. That takes us to Section 7, our special board items, and we do have on there Woody Williams Center for Advanced Learning and Careers logo, the corporate identity that was presented to us earlier. And so we would just need a motion for approval of 7.02. Mr. Best has made the motion, and Ms. Smalley has seconded. All in favor of approval of the Woody Williams Center for Advanced Learning and Careers logo, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Do we need an update for legal issues? We do not need that for 8.01. We move to 9.01 and adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'd like to welcome,
Oh.
say hello to all of our education majors from Marshall. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Ms. Watts, did you pass out applications?
Thank you not only for being here, thank you for being elementary education majors. Oh, maybe it's not all elementary. Is it elementary?
Of course they are, because they're all together. Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you for being here. Hopefully it was not too boring. So we will ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Ms. Neely's made the motion. Second, I'll second. All in favor for adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. We are adjourned at 5:57 PM.